Thank you very much. We'll wade straight in with 57624. Apologies for absence.
Apologies have been received from councillors Jefferson and Jeremy.
I've also got apologies from councillors Mitchell and Peters.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there any more? Is there any independence on this committee?
Councillor Harvey
Not,
is not part of the committee.
no, there is an independent on it. Is there?
It's Ron Wood.
Onward. Yes, I knew as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. 577, declarations of any disclosable pecuniary interests. Taking that as a naught. And 578, the minutes of the previous Corporate Services Committee meetings. We need to confirm as a true and correct record. Do we all agree on the minutes of the last meeting?
Yeah.
Thank you. 57924, approval of payments. To receive and approve the listings of payments made since the last committee meeting. Now, a few things here, but if anybody else has. I think it's at this point. Yeah, looking through, we had fees for, please bear with me here. Of course, now I can't find it, can I? Yeah, a couple of the 4 Adobe subscriptions, a Spotify subscription, and a Prime subscription. Would you care to enlarge on those, please, Al?
Sure. We have a business Prime account so that we get next day delivery.
Yeah,
So that's our business account.
yeah,
The Spotify, they had it for some of the venues. So that's just a monthly subscription. That's been going for years and years. And Adobe, there are 3 of us that use Adobe. We use Adobe to sign and approve all our internal records. So we've gone paperless.
yeah.
So we have to pay. We're not big enough to get a big corporate subscription. So we have to pay 3 individual amounts. My assistant is one of them. I have it, and the town clerk has it.
Okay.
And basically, it's just to enable us to do our approval of records. So I prepare documentations for signature. Michelle, my finance officer, prepares records. She needs it, and the town clerk would also have copies to enable her to do that.
Yeah, I fully understand the Prime subscription. That seems completely legit. Adobe, is there any way you could get a global subscription that covers all 4 of you?
They have just started sending me emails to say that we may qualify for a consolidated bill.
Yeah.
I haven't had the chance to follow up on those emails, but that's a relatively new thing. We used to, I think it was a minimum of 5 or 10 that you had to have to get a subscription. I think over time that number's reduced, but I have in the last 2 weeks I've had 3 emails reminding me that I could get a group consolidated Adobe, but I have to do some research to find out exactly what's going on.
Yeah. Spotify, I'm really struggling with, I must be honest, at 12 quid a month. I know 12 quid a month is not massive. I'll shut up and I'll ask Matt to.
No, I agree. I genuinely can't tell you the last event that we put on that I remember music being played at via our Spotify account, so get rid.
I think one of the advantages that we're doing is we've had the challenge in terms of we have credit cards and getting the information from those credit cards get cut up very, very shortly. And the new credit cards have been set up, and these will not be on there. We'll have to subscribe to it and have better control over it. We have no idea who's actually signed up for the Spotify. We know which credit card it comes out of, but that's really where it is. So that will end this month.
Good.
There'll be a card cutting ceremony and that credit card.
I'm 100% sure because Spotify auto enrolls.
They won't have a new credit card. So what we've actually done is we've actually opened brand new credit cards. We haven't just created a new user. We've actually then closing the existing Barclays card account, and we've actually got new Barclays card.
Can't take the money from anywhere anyway.
They can't take it. They have to have authority, and there'll be different people.
That, yeah, it does feel that it goes above and beyond what perhaps the council might be doing. You know, that amount a month doesn't seem to be good value, albeit it's only 12 quid. But
Can I just ask, do the events committee use it at all for any of their children's events?
I'm not sure. The problem is the history. They've been going for years and years, and it's just a matter of getting it. So one of the reasons why if you remember why we wanted new credit cards is to terminate all these direct debits because we didn't know who they were. So it's just a matter of, like I say, the 2 credit cards have been terminated. The 3rd credit card gets terminated within days, and then we start from fresh. We've got subscriptions to websites that we also possibly aren't aware of what we're paying for. So by terminating the credit card arrangements, they have to start from scratch. So either we lose our website for a day or two, and then practically re-establish it, or we know that we've been paying for redundant software licenses.
Thank you. Any more comments on approval of payments? In which case, I'll ask you all to approve the payments, please. Everyone happy? Brilliant.
You have a vote on that, please.
Yeah. Could I have a proposal and a seconder, please? Proposed by M. Brindle, seconded by David Blackbourne. All those in favour? Thank you. Against, none. And abstain, none. Thanks very much. 580/24 Communications and Booking System Report. Do we need to go through all this? There is a decision to be made here, I believe. I wouldn't intend reading it all out. I trust you to approve the papers. The decision to be made is whether we continue using Twitter/X. For what it's yeah, go on, David.
As you know, I'm against it.
Against
using Twitter.
okay. Yeah, so
Whatever it's called, yeah. I
yeah,
think we should have slightly better moral standards.
yeah. I'm against it for 2 reasons. One is the really low engagement levels we get from it. It doesn't do us very much good. Historically, it's always been lower engagement with Facebook anyway. Second point is ownership by Elon Musk. So on both counts, I wouldn't be very keen to keep it going, Matt.
The other thing as well is with Facebook, if we ever want to do any paid advertising, we can target it for Thetford. With X, you just put it out and it's not targeted. It's out there, and anyone who comes across it,
Yeah, I've got.
it's great for posting stuff to be seen, but not for actual the uses we're using. I won't get rid.
Yeah. Any other comments? So the decision required is to discontinue using X/Twitter. Could I have a proposal, please? Matt, seconder. Annie, thank you very much. All those in favour? All against? That's carried. Thank you very much. (581/24) to receive, note and discuss the personnel report covering personnel matters since the last meeting. Again, got quite substantial papers there. Anyone has any comments? That being the case, can we approve the recommendations as set out in the report? Have you anything to say, Sonia, first? It says you're the lead. I'm just being polite, really.
Is this the staffing restructure?
This is the stuff.
Yes.
I'm getting very confused. I'm really sorry. I've had a really long.
No, it's all right.
Well,
But this really summarises the changes that you've made to
Yes.
number of staff, job descriptions.
So basically, yeah, I got it now. It's because I didn't have the proper agenda of stuff. When we did our restructure, I came in at the end, and so I sort of joined it at the end. And what we've noticed over the last 6 months is we need to change a few people's job descriptions and the structure to make sure that we're all covering each other's jobs and that we've got enough staff doing the right kind of jobs, where we've got some staff who are not got so much work, but another member of staff that's running around the building. And what I wanted to do is make sure that these other staff that have got less work and then do some of the work for the staff that have got more work. I have sat and gone through all of the changes with the staff. They've all agreed to the changes, and I've documented that meeting. Matt would be pleased to know.
thank you very much.
And so this is the agreements by them, the council, to make the decision whether they agree with these changes.
I think it particularly involves, am I allowed to use names?
Name those titles.
I don't know what their titles are, so.
Heritage and events
Yes,
officers.
yes.
Yes. So most of it is around heritage and events officers, just because it wasn't quite right. And also the line management. So what I've done is brought the line management of the comms officer underneath myself, because I work more closely with her than Alan does. So it would be beneficial for her to directly be line managed by myself. And the other one is the support officer, who was the corporate services officer. But what we found is we needed someone who looked after all the compliance, the health and safety, to make sure that we were doing everything correctly and it was all documented and in a good spreadsheet format, so we knew where we were.
Just a couple of things, nothing bad. I'm not going to grill you all now. You're all good. Just to confirm, Appendix B is the layout, the proposed structure. That was the one that was presented by the HR company, wasn't it? And we all agreed to it then.
Yeah.
That's absolutely fine. The other thing is, this like Appendix C, D, you know, all the job descriptions. Yeah. How many of those? I think there's. Hang on a minute. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 5. How many of them are encumbered positions and how many of those were vacant? We've all got people. Okay, I was going to have a big spiel about economy and salaries, but they're all full anyway, so I'll be quiet.
So just so you can, for ease of reference, the changes are all, just so that you knew what the changes were.
Any further comment? Mike?
Yeah. Just thanks to the town clerk, who is clear-minded and methodical on this. I'm just a bit wondering whether it's clear enough who is in charge here. The phrase is used to agree to the changes made by the town clerk. Now, have we the power to disagree?
Yes.
Yes.
We do. Okay. In that case, can I suggest that the phrase made by the town clerk is a bit inaccurate? They haven't been made if we're going to decide on them. Could it be something like proposed by the town clerk?
That's a good suggestion, I think. Can you do that?
Well, we can do that, can you do that?
Thank you.
So that's what you would agree on. So you would agree to the changes proposed by the town clerk.
Good.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you, Michael. I think that's a reasonable point. Any further comments? If not, I'd ask someone to propose the recommendations as set out in the report. Matt Stirrup, and a second. Mike Brindle, all those in favour. Perfect, thank you very much. We move on to 582, and this is a bit of good news, I think. Financial report for the period ended 28th of February. Over to you, Alan.
Wow. You had seen me yesterday morning when I came to the office and discovered that I hadn't processed the February salaries. I was sobbing all day in the office. So the good news is not as good as it looks like. It's actually, the surplus is not 177,000 for the year. It's 117,000. Bear in mind that we've got a contribution to reserves of 75,000 still to make in February. It's not that great news. And I do apologise. I only discovered the error yesterday. The time clerk will tell you that I sulked the whole day, and I was very, very angry with myself because it was such a basic mistake to make. So all the other costs are there, but there is the surplus is reduced from 177 to 117,000, and it really is just the salary. All our other costs, I'm confident, are there. So if you take off the 75,000, we're sitting at possibly a £25,000 surplus. It's we have to wait until the year end because it really is a bit scary. You know, we've been running at a deficit for most of the financial year. I've just got to make sure that all the costs get in and that we do a pretty good year end. So from that perspective, like I say, I do apologise. I corrected the error this morning, but I didn't want to cause confusion by sending out another financial report. But everything else that I've written in the financial report is valid except for the salaries. The February salaries of 60,000 was excluded.
Thank you.
And for that, I do sincerely apologise.
Thank you. Any comments? Then Matt, sorry.
A couple of things. One of them is relevant to this. One I might, if it's the wrong section, please tell me to be quiet. And standing forth, would this come under this section, or tell me to be quiet and I'll wait till the next later bit?
It probably does.
I shall bring it up now. The thing is, I'm still a bit cause for concern over 75,000 on. No, ignore me. Misread it. You're good. Carry on as you are. Standing forth. I'll skip straight to that one. They owe us a lot of money. As they've got four board members in the room. Owe a lot of money to the council, particularly in the gas and the electric that we have been paying for, and the business rates that we also paid for. We've been talking about unpicking all of these things for nigh on a year now. I don't want to be that sort of person who comes into a meeting and says, give me a deadline, but I am going to be the person that says, I need a deadline on that, because we are making some very big changes potentially to Standing Forth on Thursday. The first thing we need to do before we make any of the proposals we're going to do is make sure we get that money back from Standing Forth as a priority. So how are we going to focus on that? Thank you.
I'll let Sonny go first. Sorry.
No.
I'll let Alan update you with when we will get our money back, which will be imminently. But with regards to separating ourselves from Standing Forth, we had a conversation today with a Standing Forth clerk, and as from the 1st of April, Alan has been tasked, and the Standing Forth clerk has been tasked with some jobs, and we will then hopefully extricate ourselves, and we will then become two separate entities as opposed to merged. So as you know, they cannot employ anyone because they are adults. They have to employ themselves, do their work through us. But now that we've agreed an hourly rate where every time we do some work, we'll fill it in a spreadsheet and we'll charge it back to Standing Forth.
Excellent.
So it will become very clear and the lines will not be blurred anymore. And then
in terms of the other stuff, what I've been doing, I've got all the valuation office valuations, but I can't tie it back to office space. So I had diagrams from when our consultants did the fire risk assessments, for example. But I can't tell you which, based on the value, I've got to match the valuation office area. So what they do is they list the ground floor, these are the offices. On the upstairs, these are the offices, and on the attic, these are the offices. So the only one that I'm fairly certain of is the attic, because there's no shared ownership. But we've got challenges regarding the solicitors that are on the first floor, which are their offices, which were our offices as the old town council, and which are now Standing Forth offices. And downstairs, I have no idea. So I managed, like I said, I managed to get the diagrams. I wrote to the company that was used, and then unfortunately they said the diagrams aren't to scale. So I have to do a little bit more work. We have to sort it out before the 31st of March, because the new rates assessments come out. What will happen is that the town council will get some money. It won't necessarily go to the account of GW Standing Forth, because what's happened is those accounts will be reassigned to tenants of King's House, because they're actually liable for the property rates. And most of them would benefit from small business rates relief. So there is a credit for us from Brexton Council, but not necessarily a burden to be picked up. But we've got to do apportionment in terms of the lease agreements, and it's all based on square meterage. So that exercise will happen, and it also happens on the utilities. So I got wrapped over the knuckles by the town clerk this morning, and
A bad day.
I've had a bad week, and I will probably get, I've got to deal with it, and I've also under pressure from the Standing Force Park to deal with it, because we're just sitting, our tenants are uncertainty. We have to do something about it.
Yeah, just two little things on that. Again, sorry to push. Starting as of the 1st of April to begin this sort of clean break, how long are you projecting that to take?
We've got to get.
I'll take ballpark.
Yeah. From the 1st of April, we've got to focus on the town council year end. That's got to be done, and it's got to be audited, because I have to have internal audits, etc. done. We've agreed with the Standing Force Park today that as soon as that exercise is done, we will sit in this office and do a Standing Force exercise, and part of that will be dealing with the utility charges and the rates valuations. Just for the remainder of this week, I shall try and get the more accurate drawings. Once I have the accurate drawings of King's House attached to rooms, it's relatively simple thereof, but that's been the challenge of doing that.
Ask, just with regards to the electricity and gas, can we not just change the payments to come out of Stanley Forth account? As simple as that.
They do.
They do.
So we actually owe Standing Forth for utilities, because we haven't contributed anything to the utilities, and Standing Forth owe us for the business rates. So it's a mixture. It's not just all one way that we've been paying utilities. Standing Forth pays for King's House electricity. Standing Forth pays for King's House water and sewage charge.
We have paid for that gas.
We haven't been in there.
No, but Standing Forth have been paying it all the time. We haven't paid for it. So the only thing we paid is business rates. And we haven't taken our portion from when we had the council chamber from 2019 to now. We haven't taken that portion, but we've been paying the business rates, which Standing Forth have to pick up. So that's what the mix match. And there's a whole lot that has to be allocated to the tenants, and it has to be done on shared areas, etc. If you remember, we had that £7,000 overcharge on our water and sewage, and that took a long time to resolve. That money eventually did come in.
No, I'm not going to say for a second you're wrong, because you are way smarter at this than me, but I was under the impression we were paying the gas and the electric. Can we double check that?
The reason I know that is because I lost access to the GW Standing Forth water accounts for ages, and the electricity account does go to Standing Forth King's House. It does go there.
And can you peace of mind me?
I will peace of mind you. I will just double check that
Before I go gung ho into Standing Forth and I'm wrong. The other
make sure you know. I just see the bills, but I'm fairly certain we don't pay for King's House. Water, we definitely do not pay for.
I'm confused, because I had this conversation with Marjana and she told me we do.
Okay, I'll double check. We have 17 electricity accounts. Some in the name of Standing Forth, some in the name of the town council, but I will double check. I'm under the impression that it's not. So, but I have been known to be wrong, as you'll notice.
I believe you. You're probably right, but if I was, it's going to be in my head now. So I'd rather be told, Matt, you are wrong. The last thing I was going to ask, just something you said that maybe for a second. You said going to the tenants. I think you said upstairs. The lawyers, the solicitors, the rooms we own and the rooms they own. Don't we own everything?
No, we own it, but they've been tenanted, but they've had a change of tenancy. So I've got the dates of when that change of tenancy happened. So previously, all those costs would have gone to Standing Forth. Then they've taken on another room, but halfway through their lease. I don't know which room it is. I've never been in their offices, and that's a difficulty. And one of the challenges we had is everyone used to call the rooms by the previous tenants.
Yeah.
I didn't know what the registrar's office was. I didn't know where the book collection was kept. I've subsequently found that out quite recently. But that's what the Orchard Group. I had no idea what, I didn't know what that was until quite recently.
Thank you.
Can I just clarify? I don't think we owned any of the building.
No, we don't.
Oh.
GW Standing Forth owns.
Yeah, sorry, Standing. When I say we, sorry, we're
One.
tenanted. Standing Forth. Sorry.
Okay.
We tenanted
I thought we'd given them a leasehold or something when he said what we own and they own. I was like, oh my God.
That's I find remarkable that 2 years on from us coming in, we still do not have this detail.
Yeah.
It's just absurd.
I would just add, I think it's an accident, an unfortunate accident of chronology that we've got a Stowe Fourth meeting on Thursday. If that had come before this one, I think we might be in a better position to resolve it. And there's nothing we can do much about that. Any further questions? Right.
I just wanted to comment on that. I think Sunnyforth's been going almost 80 years now. And for 78-ish of those years, it's been part of the town council and used as a milk cow for the town council.
Yeah.
It has been horribly wrong. And we have made a lot of progress thanks to, I think to some extent, Sunnyforth itself, thanks to the town clerk and others saying this is wrong, we should be doing it differently. And I'm pleased by the progress that's been made. It's a bit frustrating when it's not finished yet, I agree with you. But I can assure you, it's a lot worse. It's been amazing this last 6 years.
Just in terms of physically moving stuff out, and an enormous amount of progress has been made. Any further comments from anybody? Thank you. Could we approve then the financial report for the period ended 28th of February 2025? Of a proposer, please.
Yeah, happy to.
Thank you, David. Seconder, Matt, all in favour? Thank you. We move on to 58324, progress on actions from previous meetings. Alan, I'm looking for one.
I'm still suffering from the shock of the previous item. Some are archived.
No, we don't put the archive on.
Oh, sorry, my apologies. I wasn't aware of that.
Oh, right, no, we wasn't. They're completed, they're done.
Okay, my apologies.
Let me go. Oh,
The actions in progress. Since the last meeting, the recruitment of the ones that are completed are ready to go into our archive. We're evolving in terms of our agenda, so I don't keep up to date the whole time, so I do apologise. There's a number of issues that are still long outstanding. I wish we had the time to do it, like the local procurement policy, the third one down. But the ones that have been done is the fire risk assessments we've made some progress on, and the appointment of a new internal auditor we've made some progress on.
Good.
And item 308, the fourth one from the bottom, is below the line discussion item tonight.
Yeah. Any further comment?
I just add a well done, because flicking through, I can see an awful lot of policy creation.
Yeah.
So well done to the two of you. You're on there for one of them. Well done to the two of you, because as someone who does it as a job, it is laborious and mind-numbing. So well done for getting through that many.
I'd as chair, I'd definitely echo that. It's been a laborious but necessary process. No decision required on that one. And talking of necessary and laborious processes, we move on to 58424, staff probation appraisal policy enforcement. I'm really, really pleased to see this in here in both cases. It's something that historically was problematic, and the fact that we're getting on with this now is fantastic. I'll chuck it over to you, Sonia.
This came about because when I went to have my 6-month appraisal, it turns out Councillor Jeremy asked me for forms and the policy. It transpired we didn't have any.
Of course we didn't.
So all the staff previously who had done a probation period had just been signed up without any paperwork attached to it.
No interviews, nothing?
As far as I can tell, I couldn't say categorically that it didn't happen because I wasn't here. They might have had an interview. There was no paperwork attached to that.
No paperwork, it didn't happen. It was a chat. Exactly. Not a chat. For example, if you were mayor, met the town clerk and said, "So we have a cup of coffee." That was it.
Dear.
So
Thank you for that enlightening
so what
observation.
I quickly wrote a policy and done an application form and sent it across to yourself and Councillor Jeremy, and they completed that during my probation, end of probation. So now what we want to do is ensure going forward that we complete this policy and all of the necessary forms for staff that do their appraisals. We've got 2 staff that are coming to the end of their probation in April. This will help us to determine how the outcome is.
Fantastic, thank you. Any further comments?
Just to say, I think we need to keep working on this area of appraisal. Clearly, it's been badly neglected in the past, and it is important. It is worthwhile. It does pay in the longer run. We need to make sure that everybody who does appraising has got some idea of how to do it. For example, I don't mean to insult anyone. There may be some experts around. There are some experts around, it happens, but it is really something that we need to take seriously. I'm not sure if we really have in the past.
I completely agree. I would add to that that as line manager for the town clerk, I have received training from the Brecon Ladies,
I mean, that's a change.
which is fantastic. It was very good training.
Happened for the last 300 years.
So I really appreciate it, and I hope in turn Sonia does too.
Yes, all senior members of staff who manage people have all had the training with Brecon. We had four 4-hour sessions, so I hope that we're sufficiently trained.
I didn't have that much.
I wasn't disputing that, by the way. I was just saying,
Hopefully.
again, it actually represents huge progress, and we are taking seriously something that is important and can be valuable.
Yeah. Any further comments? Okay, could we approve the policy and associated forms? Could I have a proposer, Matt? Could I have a seconder? Looking at Mike, thank you. All in favour? Against? Yeah, that's carried unanimously. To 58524, hot work policy and forms. And it says deputy town clerk.
Yeah, no, I'll talk to this. We actually did prepare a policy a few years ago, but it just stayed and never went anywhere. So we've kind of gone through the policy, we've updated it so that it reflects latest practice. The idea is that it's used by our own staff if we do hot work, and it's also used by external contractors. And as you know, there's been some incidences around the world, the Notre Dame, Brecon Lodge, which was quite close to home. That was as a result of a hot work mistake. Someone left their premises before the item had cooled down sufficiently, and it's really just good practice. So once this is adopted, we will be actually enforce it. It will be part of our staff procedures, and it will also be part of our contractors' procedures.
Yeah, thank you. Idle curiosity here, how much hot work do we do? Because my understanding, most hot work is welding and associated stuff.
In this building, you just never know. So it really,
Yeah. That's fair.
Flat roof out the back as well, haven't we?
Sorry,
Isn't the Carnegie a flat roof?
it is.
Parts of it.
So that's gonna
That'd be flat work, that'd be hot work.
hot.
Yeah, and also working at height. So.
So
Okay, any comments? I need a proposer and a seconder, if you'd be so kind. Proposer, David, seconder. Annie, thank you very much. All in favour? Carried. And here we go with a 58624, another new policy, which is our co-option policy and we need to approve the policy as stated. Can I let you go with this, please, Sonia?
You did actually have a co-option policy, but it was an amalgamation of 2 policies and it wasn't quite right. So what I've done is I've made you a new policy that fits with the NELP guidelines.
Thank you. I do know that historically there was, and you will be aware of this, I'm sure, Mike, there was some problems when it came to co-opting a council onto the council, wasn't there?
2019
Regrettably.
treaty.
Yeah, yeah. Any comments? Then we need to approve the policy. Could I have a proposer, please? Please. Matt.
Again,
Second, David, thank you. All those in favour?
No, I'm going to be blamed for everything that ever goes wrong now.
It's
Oh,
all on you, mate.
I know.
Thank you very much. Unanimous decision there. 587/24 Treasury and Investment Policy, including the investment strategy.
I think this is an amalgamation of two sets of work. A few years ago, I ended up doing a research document on an investment policy. It was adopted by council, very theoretical. The town clerk has come in and done a very practical document, taken the document that I did that I was very proud of, but like I say, it wasn't very relevant. And what we've done is we put it together and we've actually created something that supports us. The key difference we have is that we are a council that has significant equity and gilt investments. Very few do, so it makes it very difficult to adapt. It makes some of our treasury policies redundant because you can't take shares and allocate them to reserves. They're one pot of money. And the third thing is that we need to have engagements, regular engagements with our brokers, and we needed to create the facility for that. So what we have done previously is we've created an investment committee. The investment committee would have engagements with the brokers, help guide them in terms of what we invest in. For example, at a recent meeting, we decided to invest in international stocks, not only just UK-based stocks. And this policy really just puts all that into place and creates a structure to be able to do that.
Thank you. Sonia.
Can I just remind council that having stocks and shares is really high risk, and the risk is palpable at the moment considering who we have in power in other countries, and we have to consider that. There is a lot of councils do not have these stocks and shares. They have them in different bonds, government bonds that are not so risky. So it might be something that you need to think about in the future to see whether you want to continue with this high level of risk or whether you want to lower your risk and maybe diversify some of it into government bonds. It's just highlighting what you've got at the moment as in high risk.
On the back of that, we're going to say, is it worth maybe penciling a potential date in within the next 6 months to have a informal/formal, to be honest, review of what we want to do with our investments?
Would that be someone we bring our man in for?
Are we with Barrett and Cook, like standing for office?
I think it would be very useful to actually decide about yourselves as a council what you want, and then bring him in to help you implement it. Because I know this has been recorded, but it's like asking a butcher, do I go vegetarian? They're not going to guide you. So I think if we can actually just get an idea as a council what we want to do, I think initially in the initial investment policy we said we'd get our equities down to 50% of our investments. They've been as high as 90%. They've come down to about 75%. It's whether you want to take it down to 50 or whether you want to take it down to 25. And I think that's a decision that we have to take to council ultimately, and then bring in the Barrett and Cook and say, this is what the council resolved. What's the best way to do it? Because there's different ways to do it. Do you want to drip feed the market? I don't know. I'm not too sure. And they would tell you, well, let's get rid of some of these stocks, keep those. We do have an element of government bonds in our investment as it stands. So there is an element of that. And it's whether we just change that profile because it's very easy to dispose of that.
With the government bonds, I would keep them. They are quite safe.
They're called gilts for a reason.
Yeah. But it's the other stocks and shares that you've got in other companies. Just be mindful that there are other government initiatives out there where you can put them into safer, but still have your 4 or 5% equity every year.
Is that a decision to be taken here first and then moved on to full council, do we think?
I think ultimately one of the mistakes and is even at the last meeting where we had our investment committee, we actually didn't formalise and take it back to council. So it has to go back. I think we need to make a recommendation. I mean,
Yeah.
and I think then it needs to go straight to full council. But the investment working group is we've structured it so it is members of this particular committee. No, it was some knock here.
I heard a knock off.
This committee can make is the investment committee, makes the recommendation to council, and then council then implements it.
Can we do that? Can we do that now?
Can I just say, if you've got recommended to go to full council, please can we recommend it to go to April full council?
Yes.
Because March is too close and Alan will need to do some work on.
We do have one in April. It's May. There is a full council in May.
Or wrong. Do we not have one in March?
We
Yeah.
are having one.
Yeah, we have one
March now and that.
Next week.
next week.
Next week.
Oh, okay, you're good.
Alan's got to need some time to look into other investments that we could maybe do. So maybe,
And it's helpful if it's next financial year as well.
yeah, so maybe leave it until the June. I just think that you need to, because Alan's got to do year end, which is really
Yeah.
helpful. He's got the auditor coming in and we need him to look at this because this is his
Yeah.
his experience, his pot, his bag, as they say, not mine.
Should we bring it back to the next corporate services meeting and then take it on to full council? Or can we deal with it now?
I think what we do is have an investment committee meeting. So we'd have it prior or before this meeting starts, from 6 to 6:30,
Yeah.
have the investment committee, and then from 6:30 have the corporate services committee.
What's this event? Do we have an investment committee?
The only difference is why we had an investment committee is if you want to engage with Barrett and Cook, you can't do it in this format. They present and then they leave type thing. So it's very difficult to have that. You have to have them as a presentation. So have an investment committee meeting with them.
But I think that Barrett and Cook have always got to say to you, because like you say, at the end of the day, it's business to them.
Yeah.
And it's the more investments we have, the more money they make from it.
Yeah.
So I don't think that would be best for them to guide us.
A couple of things. First of all, yes, it's business for them. If we are going to do something, I'd like to have put it here. If not now, then why not now? Then say.
Because it's not an agenda.
Well, okay. We ought to have any other business then, but it needs, no, that's fine, but we need to do something. If it's a good idea, we need to do it soon and move.
The point is we can't.
No, I understand, I heard that, but soon rather than it's
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, I mean, we keep talking about Barrett and Cook, but Barrett and Cook we use for another place. I would like to investigate somebody else. You know, let's not keep going to the same people time after time after time.
Well, that being the case, I'd suggest you put a resolution in for a further meeting. We can't really discuss that now.
I think that,
We keep talking about Barrett and Cook, so.
Yeah. So if you want to change that, put that in as a resolution for a meeting down the road. We can't just, this is the agenda we're working with here.
why don't we decide at full council what we've got to do with our investments? And then once we've done that, then we can then look at if we've got to go down to 50%, 25% of investments, we can then look at whether Barrett and Cook are our best option, or we can look at other people. But what we need to do first is make the decision on what we've got to do with our investments.
Yeah.
And then we'll look at who's got to be looking after our investments.
And so that's likely April or May, really.
June.
Okay.
Once we get to June,
Sorry, forgive me on this. We're discussing that now, but then when I say something, we can't discuss it.
No, it's so, I think what we're doing is we're getting the policy right. So we've got to, until we approve the policy, we can't do anything. And all we're doing is saying is this next step, that's a process, but we can't make that decision now. We can just talk about a process going forward that we're
We're
going
talking about the process.
to hear about a process.
So we just agree on the policy, and
That's
what
fine.
we're saying that on a future agenda, we will then put on full council that we will discuss our investments.
That's all right.
Happy?
I am, yeah.
Good. Could I have, firstly, are there any more comments? I'm guessing not. Could then we have a proposer and a seconder to approve the policy and strategy, please? Proposer M. Brindle, seconder A. Blackburn. Thank you very much. All in favour? We now move on to 588, the end of this open meeting, to exclude the press and the public, to consider resolving that pursuant to the Public Bodies Admission to Meetings Act 1916, the press and public are excluded for any remaining items of business on the ground that publicity prejudicial to the public interest by reason of the confidential nature of the business to be discussed. Decision required whether or not to exclude the press and public. Lead chair. All those wanting to exclude the press and public, please say aye. Okay, thank you very much. And thanks for shutting the door, Matt. I was going to ask you to do it.